down by the river.
That's right. It is go time. Part 2 of the Week 16 preview is here. It is the Audible. It's Cecil, Lammey, and Sigmund Bloom telling you who to start, who to bench. Coming up the end of this episode are ever popular what the heck flex. And, well, what the heck? We start with Giants in Baltimore. So, just when you thought you could trust some Giants, no.
None.
Against Baltimore, no.
Yeah,
just no.
Dare I say the Ravens defense is what you want to look for here. And Daniel Jones, if he's playing, isn't going to be that mobile. Here's one. Evan Ingram made this Super Bowl. No, not the Super Bowl. The Pro Bowl. Evan Ingram made over Big Bob Tunyon. And Art Stapleton, who's excellent beat writer, made sure to clear this up for me because they actually had former Giants call the current Giants, the two that made it, Bradbury and Ingram, and say, let's talk about playing the positions. And then in the middle of the call, they told them, you made the Pro Bowl. But really, Evan Ingram was shocked that he made the Pro Bowl. So there's your Giants note this week.
Yeah, it's like Bradley Chubb when he did his video. He's like, I was shocked. It's like, that's probably not a good sign. It's probably not a great sign. Ravens side, it's a great sign if you got Lamar Jackson. It's a great sign if you've got Mark Andrews. Is it a great sign if you have to navigate those running backs against the Giants? It could be anything.
Right.
Could get up big and then they just give it to Gus Edwards 16 times. Okay, don't really trust any of the wide receivers. Marquis Brown, he's flashing a little bit more. Fine, I'll have him flash on my bench. It's championship week. Who do you trust from the Ravens?
Lamar's back to making things look easy. This isn't a pushover defense. It isn't a pushover defense against the run, but I'll take my chances with Ravens this week. I'll certainly take my chances with J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins over your Bell, Fournette types, Henderson. Gus Edwards is more of a what-the-heck flex, and you see that smaller margin of error there. Marquis Brown, Pat Fitzmaurice brought this up yesterday. He's actually wide receiver 14 over the last month. So maybe not a risky play. Certainly not against the Giants. I mean, James Bradbury's been good, but I don't know how he matches up against a small, quick, fast receiver like Marquise Brown. And then Mark Andrews on that short list of guys we're playing over. George Kittle, and you see that connection there with Lamar Jackson and everything going well, and Baltimore just needs to keep winning and then hope somebody stubs their toe and they can get in the playoffs, and that's when they'll be a very dangerous team.
Next game up as we continue on in part 2 of the Week 16 preview, and it is, Cincinnati break up the Bengals and the Houston Texans. So in a game that's meaningless between two teams that you got a few assets on that we'll get to, but you're not incredibly fired up. You might be this week for the Bengals riding high off that momentum. Jeannie Bernard. Nice porn stash and all.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Sandy. Which Bengals are you trusting this week against Houston's? Pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Pretty juicy.
Still Ryan Finley.
Yeah.
Jeannie Bernard's interesting. It's a good matchup. He played some great football. Before last week, though, the last month or so, he hadn't even broken the 10-point barrier in PPR leagues. So it's risky. Especially if Houston builds a lead here and Bernard's not a big part of the passing game. But you consider him. I'd say not over Fournette, about the same levels, Le'Veon Bell, probably over Darrell Henderson. That's where we're at this week with these guys. T. Higgins, if you're going to play a Bengals receiver, let it be T. Higgins because he can make individual plays with his targets. But you're still trusting Ryan Finley, and although he had his game of his life, at least as a pro quarterback, back to reality this week, and boy, Deshaun Watson's having to deal with way too much reality this year.
And that's the reality of the situation is the Houston Texans deal. Is Duke Johnson going to play this week, Bloom? Because David Johnson got all that, and then Duke will come back and take away all that. Deshaun's awesome. Kiki Cutie sock time, one on, one off.
Yeah.
It's the Bengals, so we'll see what the Texans can do to maybe put up a fight.
You're loving Watson and Cooks this week. Like you said with David Johnson, finally realizing he can be a good receiver out of the backfield. But we want to see Duke Johnson's status. I would expect that Johnson won't play Duke, that is. But check back on that as we get closer to Sunday. And then, if you're going with a what the heck flex receiver, Chad Hansen or Kiki Cutie, I think Cutie has a higher floor, more targets. Hansen had that big play last week, though. So even if he doesn't get as many targets, he can still sneak behind the defense, some breakdowns. I don't think the Bengals are going to get up for the Texans like they did for the Steelers. And Dolphins fans, you're rooting for another upset here, as remember they own that first-round pick next year.
Denver and Los Angeles. We'll see what they do with their first-round pick, cornerback. And they're going up against the Chargers. So it's Drew Lock coming off a terrible game, just a disgusting performance against the Bills. He can be Josh Allen. No, he can't. He's not built that way. And now he gets to face a defense that, with the return of Chris Harris Jr., he wasn't against him the first time around. He's against him this time. So stay away from CHJ. If you're Drew Lock, he probably won't. So he's going to throw a pick, Bloom. We know this. He's going to turn the ball over every week except week 1. Drew Lock has a turnover for the Broncos. Melvin Gordon's running better than Phillip Lindsay, who's hurt and trying to do too much anytime he does get the ball, and that's very limited. He's terrible in pass protection, and Gordon's just looking better. As a low-end RB2, sure, Melvin Gordon. Tim Patrick's the guy that Lock wants to go to. We'll see about that. By the way, what's the latest with Joey? Joey's in the concussion protocol, right? Top of my head?
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe there's a little bit more time for Lock there. Noah Fant, he'll feed Fant. Fant had to go to the young guys during the game last week and say, I know you're frustrated, but we need you. So those young guys are frustrated. Do they get fed this week? Probably not. It's Vic Fangio. Although against the Chargers, the Broncos had one of their very few wins. We'll see if they can win, but I don't think you can win much relying on your Broncos this week.
No. Chris Harris sees Chris Harris, as we're recording this, said he thought there was a chance he was going to re-sign with the Broncos, but alas, he's a Charger. I don't want to trust Drew Lock in my fantasy championship in any way. I think it's Melvin Gordon is the one guy, and again, we're using that new starter matrix. Gordon, Fournette. Oh, it's so hard to picture Fournette scoring 0 touchdowns in that game, but Gordon's been racking up touchdowns, so he's the top of the what the heck running back 2 tier because of how well he's been playing. And see, just real quickly from a dynasty standpoint, does his likely suspension next year affect his status with the team? Because I think his dead cap number is like 6.5 and his salary is 4.5, so I'd expect him to start week 1, or whatever is week 1 for him.
Week 4.
Or do you think that's a problem, the suspension?
Well, it's a problem because they'll look to upgrade in the offseason. It's probably in the draft, but it's Melvin Gordon. So week 4, he'll be there. He'll be in the mix, probably some sort of committee. They're bringing everybody back, by the way, except Tom McMahon. So everybody's Shermer's back, Fangio's back. It's COVID, guys, and no preseason and no reps, and we're really young.
Yeah.
All right. What's the excuse next year around week 4 when everyone's calling for Fangio's head?
Right. No offense to the other guys we're looking at here, just because of what he did last week. And speaking of Chris Harris, that's going to take away at least one option. We'll see. Tim Patrick always has that what the heck flex value. And that's the other thing here is, although I don't want to rely on Drew Lock, I don't want to rely on the Broncos offense. This could be a high-scoring game. This could be a game that is not typified by defense, just like that Raiders-Chargers game last week.
Yeah, Andrew wants to know if I'm going to rant. I have to do 4 hours this afternoon on the air, so I'm trying to save my energy. I actually have a little bit of a headache. I thought it was because of my hat, so I took my hat off, Bloom. But, I got 4 hours coming up later today on the drive.
It was a Broncos hat, right?
Yes, it was. So it was.
That's a great metaphor. I got a headache.
I got a headache from those guys. So let's move on. And Jason, I'm going grunge. It's because I'm alive. And Jason says, good morning. Good morning to you, pot stoner degenerates and fantasy football players. Want to know about the Chargers side. Austin Eckler all day. Texas routes will be open all day. Watching the health status of Keenan Allen. This is a secondary that's going to be, again, without Bryce Callahan and A.J. Bouye. Not that Bouye was that great. And Callahan's a fine slot receiver for about 10 games a year, which is what he gave the Broncos. So he's out. Bouye's out, of course, suspended. And then Michael Ojemudia throwing punches. It could be very robust. Hunter Henry, very robust. from your Chargers passing attack, and that makes Justin Herbert a top 10 fantasy QB this week.
Yeah, you got to like Herbert this week. Tough calls. I saw someone in the chat room, Brady versus Herbert. That's tough. I guess I could Detroit's defense is worse than Denver's, but Herbert, again, showing us last week, it doesn't matter if he has his top receivers. Keenan Allen. Look, I get it. Unless Keenan Allen gets in a full practice and we feel really good about him, to not play him. Even if it's 10 catches for 120, whatever, you miss it. Because if you survived him or didn't put him in last week because you're smart, then maybe that's the universe saying do it again. Austin Eckler in PPR leagues, he's a must play. I got a question about him in non-PPR. Not a lot of appeal, honestly. Like you said, though, Cease, there might be some big plays in the passing game. We haven't seen those lately. We know Kalen Ballage is probably going to get the goal line carries there. If Allen and Mike Williams can't go, now you're looking at Tyron Johnson and Jalen Guyton as what the heck flex plays, and Hunter Henry coming on for you at the right time. And it's, again, Allen, Williams, condition, availability, a big part of Henry's outlook. But we do know that Herbert will be productive, and we expect the Chargers to have a lot of success in this game.
Carolina and Washington, our next game up, and we have questions in the chat room coming through saying, all right, what are we expecting from Robbie? Is he going to bounce back? And what are the Carolina Panthers going to do this week? Of course, we're always monitoring what Teddy and company do. And considering those assets, also considering Christian McCaffrey sitting out of practice today. That's the latest practice report. They're optimistic. Hopefully he'll practice is what Matt Rule said. But okay, it has to be like a Friday thing and then a trust thing. If I said it about George Kittle, I'll say it about Christian McCaffrey. If he plays, I'm playing him. But is he going to play?
Right. I don't think so. We'll see. Mike Davis, though, becomes a dicier play. Look, don't you just expect Washington to make this a miserable game for the Carolina offense?
Yeah, is Teddy going to have time to throw?
No.
That's the thing. Like,
is Teddy going to finish the game, So
I hope so.
DJ Moore, we have some confidence in because of how he played last week because of the big plays. But Robbie Anderson, who we were relying on volume, I mean, maybe Robbie Anderson could have a good PPR game in the vein of like 9 for 50. That's what we're looking at here. It's the Ron Rivera Bowl here, by the way, as Rivera's trying to guide his team to the playoffs and the schedule makers. This is a good one here. As Washington knows they need to win out facing this Carolina team this week. I give them a good chance, and then they just need to beat Philly next week to bring it home. So it looks like Washington may be starting a playoff game, or at least starting a game to win to get in the playoffs. Not with Alex Smith, but with Dwayne Haskins, who was out doing things he shouldn't have been doing.
Are we sure it's going to be Dwayne Haskins?
Well, he was practiced. I mean, he took the reps in practice today. So if Alex Smith isn't ready to take
morning, whenever you're listening.
Right. So if Alex Smith isn't ready to take reps yet, the point is, lead in here to the Washington side. We don't know. But after last week, it doesn't matter that we don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Dwayne Haskins at a strip club without a mask. So there you go. Now we'll see what happens. People questioning everything. Okay, we're here to talk about fantasy football and what that means. It means Terry McLaurin, love him, and then what? Logan Thomas, Bloom?
Yeah. Logan Thomas has been good again, quarterback proof, and Antonio Gibson. He's going to play with the turf toe. So we have a lot of these situations we're going to be watching, and we may not have clarity when you're making your decisions on Saturday. I would start your players as if Gibson's not going to play. And even if he does play, he may not be fully explosive. The big toe is that launching pad for your explosion, for your acceleration. If Gibson's out, wow, J.D. McKissic's looking good. This is still a great matchup for Carolina. I mean, Carolina running backs against Carolina. You want to get your running backs in. So ideally, Gibson, we don't have to worry about. McKissic, a good play. And McKissic, again, showing a lot, proving this year that he is a legit NFL running back, not just an end-of-the-bench guy. And somebody that can help you win a fantasy championship. Washington controlling their destiny. Did you think we were going to say that, Cease? Washington controls their playoff destiny in Week 16.
Yeah, no. Was not thinking that at all. Look at our man PC. Appreciate you guys. I'm thankful for fantasy football. Got it in championship with Cecil and Sig on my team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just don't hand it off to us.
Remind me to send a message to Joe Bloom. Yeah. Because I think a great kind of byline for us
Right.
We're on your team.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're neurotic Steelers fans, but we're on your team.
We are.
Footballguys.com.
No kid.
Ball sack, me, I'm in the AM.
I'm not saying this to try to exaggerate this. I'm saying it because it's the truth. I think more, especially like the last hour before kickoff on Sunday, as I'm watching the games, I think more about those recommendations I gave to people than I do about my own teams. Really,
yes,
because I don't want to let you down. I don't mind letting myself down. I've let myself down for my whole life. I don't want to let you down. I'm used to that. I don't want to let someone else. You know, there was one on Monday night when someone said Snell or Deontay Johnson half-point PPR, and I'm like, half-point PPR. I think it's probably Snell. I think Snell has a better chance to score. Johnson scored first, and I was like, oh, and was that Snell touchdown just lifted so much weight off my shoulders.
So much weight off of your shoulders. Now, our man Jason Bloom, do you know what an LS1 Volvo swap is? Because with Jason, it's either some sort of like Darth Vader purple couche from the weed store in Greeley, or he's going to put a Corvette engine in a freaking Volvo.
Wow. Like a boxy Volvo, like the old.
There's only one kind of Volvo. Yeah. They're all boxy. We're all boxing you in with hot Philadelphia and Dallas talk up next. And Jalen Hurts. Right? For all the, this is part of my rant today, Bloom.
Yeah.
For all the Drew Lock apologists who are like, it just takes time and reps. Jalen Hurts came in and has looked better than Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has come in and been a difference maker. And Jalen Hurts is running the ball. Jalen Hurts is distributing it to all sorts of targets. And guys are coming through. I mean, look at the catch Alshon Jeffrey made, right? We talked about in the recap show. Like, you have old guys that believe in that guy. Okay, it wasn't working with Carson Wentz. It's working with Jalen Hurts. So how does it work against Dallas, Bloom? This week, it could work any way they want.
I won't be surprised if Hurts is one of the three best quarterbacks this week. You know, it's your team, it's your championship, and I understand playing Jalen Hurts over someone like Russell Wilson, that's easy. It's Jalen Hurts. Wow, really rising to the occasion. And it's Dallas. This is an elimination game, by the way. The team that wins this game still has a chance to go to the playoffs. I think, and I don't know if it's official mathematic. It may depend on what Washington does. The team that loses this game, finally, we can say it's one of those like horror movie death scenes where like you think they're dead and they come out of the grave, close the coffin. Whoa, the coffin swings open. This is it. And Jalen Hurts is absolutely keeping Philadelphia alive. You'll love Miles Sanders in this one. It's the run defense of Dallas. They still give up over 100 yards to Mostert and Wilson. One touchdown between the two of them. Could have easily been two. What about the pass catchers? Jalen Hurts is doing well spreading the ball around. He's like you said, Alshon Jeffrey's making a play. If J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was out there, maybe he would even make a play. But you do like Dallas Goedert, I think, with his run after catch ability. Zach Ertz as a desperation play tight end. He had two big plays last week, 2 for 69. So it's more that Hurts is spreading the ball around. You know, Greg Ward makes some big catches. Jalen Reagor makes some plays. Miles Sanders gets involved out of the backfield. He's too good this early in his career for us to have. He doesn't have that one guy that he's leaning on. So play Hurts. Get all of the value there in the passing game. And then we'll see Dallas still alive.
Yeah, we'll see Dallas. Mike McCarthy says Zeke might be available. Okay. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's we're in Janet Jackson mode.
Uh-huh.
I get to week 1 of the fantasy playoffs. I'm in Marcy Rossman mode. Championship. It's about what have you done for me lately? Sorry, Zeke. That's not you. So in this matchup against Philadelphia, which Cowboys are you trusting? Because they've all let us down at certain points, Bloom, even Amari Cooper last week.
Right. So if Zeke plays, that just means you don't play either Dallas back. Philly's run defense is not a pushover. Dalton is, two quarterback super flex material. Eagles pass defense is definitely the weakness, at least between the two. But will Michael Gallup play with his hip injury? And that's what's crazy, Cease. The guy who let us down last week, Amari Cooper, is maybe the one we trust the most this week. I mean, it was just 1 week, so we don't want to overreact to 1 week. Amari Cooper, do we need to go back down memory lane of what Amari Cooper has done against the Eagles as a Cowboy? I mean, he can win your week for you. So I think it's Amari Cooper. And then if Michael Gallup is out, you're liking CeeDee Lamb. And hopefully you got credit for his onside kick return touchdown. Like last week in that game, we had a Hail Mary and an onside kick return touchdown, and neither of them even mattered.
Look at our guy, John Snyder. Smooth Sigmund Bloom.
KOMA coma.
There you go. That's right. See, and that's the oppositeness of our show, Bloom.
Sure.
Right? Because we come from different perspectives. Like, I'm the ass cracking ballsack guy, and you're the NPR like KOMA.
Right. Yeah, jazz. As they do the show here on WWOZ 4 to 7. Jazz from the French market.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah. I'm telling you, you need to crack a mic in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Had you moved to Denver, brother, you and I would.
I know. It's still not over yet.
Well, there's conversations. Maybe I should say before off there. There are conversations locally about how to make that happen.
Yeah.
And not implemented by me, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm getting.
So who wants to hear the Audible on the radio waves?
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then we really start getting funky with it when we get into like, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? How did the Rams? I mean, all right, you're going to Seattle. Russ is going to cook all over your ass. And of course, with the Rams, you're like, okay, Darrell Henderson week. How do they bounce back, Bloom?
Yeah.
Losing to the Jets. How do they bounce back after?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as much as the Steelers have a gut check week, the Rams have a gut check week. And the good news for the Rams is if they can win this game, a very familiar opponent. Remember, the only times they've lost to the Seahawks going into this year in the last 3 years were last-second victories for the Seahawks. So the first time around, the Rams won again this year down in L.A. So the Rams, if they win this, they can seize back control of the division, control of the home game to open the playoffs, and relegate Seattle to a wild card spot. This is a defensive game, right? And this is a street fight. This is a 13-6, just try to protect the ball, no turnovers kind of game. Not exactly a game that you're looking at, and if you need overachievers, not one you want to tap. Goff, Cup, you think that the Rams are going to go more run heavy, more two tight end. I think that helps balance the offense. It certainly helped last week. Robert Woods, you're going to keep playing. Bobby Trees, you're going to keep playing him for sure. He can get those yards also on the end arounds. Darrell Henderson, again, Cecil, I can picture a line here where Henderson has 14 for 40 or 14 for 100. And, one of those carries is a breakaway run. Mm-hmm. But he's not that involved in the passing game. Malcolm Brown is there. It's like the banana in the tailpipe at the goal line or something like that. So, I want to say play Darrell Henderson is exciting. I probably have more faith, honestly, in Tyler Higbee. We saw Logan Thomas have a big game against Seattle last week. Higbee looks good, by the way. If we were just going to rank the 10 best receiving tight ends in the league, Higbee's one of them. He just also plays with Gerald Everett. So maybe Higbee is a guy to look at, especially if they're staying in those run sets, if you need a tight end. But this is going to be an exciting, intense game, just not a great one for fantasy output.
Hey, Seattle side, what are you cooking up against the Rams? If you're Russell Wilson, and who are you doing with a DK Metcalf, hopefully, Tyler Lockett, hopefully. We all know the names. We're just a little nervous about those names, Bloom, if you're considering your Seahawks, especially if the Rams bounce back. If they, we're super humiliated, we're going to take it to Russell Wilson.
Right. Again, that Lakers-Celtics thing. It was that there was one of the games when I think the Celtics lost by 40 or the Lakers lost by 40. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Pat Riley. He said, I wanted it to be bad. And the next day he just showed everybody how bad they were. That was, I think, the Kareem is dead game. So, yeah, that's the idea for the Rams here. For Seattle, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not one good fantasy play on this entire side. Chris Carson, I think you got to just play out of respect. Also, he's got the burst. He can be a contributor in the passing game, but we do have Carlos Hyde healthy, not Rashard Penny. Rashard Penny gets back on the field, and he's back on the injury report. Yeah, exactly. between DK Metcalf and Lockett, look, Lockett's had one good game in the last 2 months. You know, last time out against the Rams, Lockett had 4 for 40. I'm sorry, 5 for 66. He did outproduce DK Metcalf, only had 2 for 28. But if we go back and look at DK Metcalf against the Rams, last year he had a 6 for 78 against them. I think his matchup against Jalen Ramsey's tough, but see, it's DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf. Am I really going to say like bench DK Metcalf for, Michael Hardman or something like that? I mean, I can imagine a tougher call, but it's going to be really hard for me to tell someone to bench DK Metcalf this week. It's DK Metcalf, even though he is against Jalen Ramsey, and you would hope that they have something up their sleeve. But again, it's the Seattle offense, and it's not going to be an exciting game. So if last week you were bold and you benched Metcalf and you benched Wilson, it might be the reason you're still alive. So we're giving Metcalf, not Wilson, the power of reputation, but maybe that's like Pat Fitzmore said about upside, a way to talk yourself into a bad play.
Isn't it cool that Ryan Tannehill versus Aaron Rodgers is like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that's what you sound like a big choo-choo train. Like, yes, Tennessee and Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. This one's going to be a fun one. Derrick Henry, of course. A.J. Brown, of course. Corey Davis, of course. And Ryan Tannehill, of course. Riding that momentum, this one in Lambeau, this one to make a statement. Like, hey, beat them down, beat you down. That's the new Tennessee Titans and the unleashed Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, is it going to be a white Christmas in Denver this year?
No.
I don't know if it's going to be a white Christmas in Green Bay, but I think it might be a white Sunday Night Football. As there's potentially snow in the forecast, but I don't think it's going to necessarily change the outlook of this game. It could make it more fun to watch.
Just more Derrick Henry if they're really worried about it.
Yeah, and I don't.
By the way, NFL weather, not to cut you out, Bloom, NFLweather.com says 28 overcast, 11 miles an hour winds, no snow.
No snow. Yeah,
as we sit here today, Wednesday morning.
Right. Either way, Derrick Henry. Yes, it's all been building to this. Derrick Henry. How good do you feel with Derrick Henry in your lineup? And Tannehill. This could be the game that is full of fantasy overachievers. This could be the game where what you need, Tennessee, Green Bay, you're going to get. You're going to get it from Corey Davis, who could have had 2 touchdowns last week. You're going to get it from A.J. Brown. Maybe even Jonnu Smith, who, as you pointed out, Cecil, looked like good old Jonnu Smith last week. He moved like Jonnu Smith after the catch, which we hadn't seen for a while. All these reasons that you like Ryan Tannehill. And this is going to be a good old duel. And look, Tennessee again, musical chairs, 5 teams, 4 spots. Green Bay, number 1 seed, but you got to keep winning. Also very interested watching this game is the Bears. If Green Bay wins this game, they basically clinch the number 1 seed, I think. But if they don't, then they have to bring it against the Bears next week, who might be playing for a playoff spot. So lots of machinations here. But for us, most importantly, the fantasy football, which should be very kind, a late Christmas present, if you will.
Yeah, a late Christmas present for you with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, your Aaronses, because I'd like to see Green Bay show some more toughness and run the ball like they did last week and just keep running the ball. Now we're watching. Did I see a Jamal Williams update, Bloom? The haze of my mind. I think I was just scrolling through Sports Center and dystopian triple D's, whichever one I was watching. I was like, okay, there's Jamal Williams. Oh, okay, so we'll watch the practice stats, but whatever is whatever. Like, it should be the Aaronses as much as possible. Tunyon in there as well, and Devontae Adams. If 7 for 42 is your floor game, fine. Right. Devontae Adams, of course, you're going to start him. And, you're considering what the heck flex of Alan Lazard.
Yes.
Or MVS. Yeah.
Not MVS, although what was really interesting is I asked Pat Fitzmore on the couch yesterday about this, and he's a Packers honk, like we're Steelers honks. And I asked him about Lazard, and he wanted to talk about Marcus Valdes-Scantling. But again, in the heading of we talk ourselves into these upside plays, and they're bad plays. But it's Tennessee. Tennessee's defense, no bueno. So Alan Lazard could be that guy. Or maybe it is Valdez-Scantling. Valdez-Scantling has the speed and maybe more valuable target for target. As of right now, Lazard is the one playing better coming into this game or producing better, but it's a pendulum. But otherwise, yeah, you're playing Tunyon, unless George Kittle comes back, and that's your other option. You're playing Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers. And I think that you're right that all the fantasy implications and layers are not nearly as interesting as what does Green Bay look like against a physical team? What does Green Bay look like against a team more like Tampa, more like Indianapolis, the teams that have beaten them so far this year? Because it don't mean a thing if you don't get that ring. And honestly, Cecil, if I said New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Seattle, the Rams, look, these are all teams, Washington even, that could go into Green Bay. So the road to the Super Bowl goes through Lambeau. If you shrink in the face of a team that punches you in the face, then it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter if you have home field advantage. So they might be able to secure it with this game, which is a good test, because if they can beat a physical team, then maybe it will mean something.
You beat a physical team by being physical yourself.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. This one used to mean something. Buffalo and New England. New England out of the playoffs for the first time since 2008. So Buffalo side riding high off that big game against Denver. New England should have a better game plan than Denver, you would think, but it's still tough and stuff. Watch the practice status of Stephon Diggs, a little bit of an ankle thing, should be okay. Cole Beasley should be more than okay. You're hoping to see more of Dawson Knox. And then the backfield bloom, here we go. Is Devin Singletary going to rip off another one when the Broncos give up at the end for a touchdown, or Zach Moss going to hard charge in? This one's a little more interesting puzzle because of Belichick and because of the Patriots.
Yeah. It's funny, too, that you mentioned the Patriots. Since there's not a lot of talk about for fantasy on this one, let's talk a little bit about the Patriots missing the playoffs for the first time since 2008. Do you remember what their record was that year? Brady, remember, got
11-5.
11-5. They missed the playoffs at 11-5.
Yep.
Wow. So that's
Matt
what it
Castle
took.
Year.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's what it took. And it's now we've come full circle. Oh, boy. You think now, is this Josh Allen getting his revenge on Bill Belichick, or is this Bill Belichick saying, no, I'm still going to be a thorn in your side, but you're going to play Josh Allen? Stephon Diggs' foot injury looks like it's going to be okay. So it's Monday night. I think we're going to have some clarity that he's going to play. New England's run defense is suspect. Zach Moss is still deep. What the heck flex here? Is John Brown playing? So that might affect your decisions on Cole Beasley. Gabriel Davis just not getting the targets, really, even to be a what the heck flex, even though New England, both run and pass defense has been suspect. Remember, no Stephon Gilmore for this one. And there's old Dawson Knox. Can make big plays with his athleticism. Had touchdowns 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So maybe more of a DFS showdown slate. Let's see what happens kind of play, because I think, when it comes to the showdown slate, I'm not going to be putting very many Patriots in my lineup.
No, Patriots side of things is, I don't know. I have no idea.
No. I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, Bill Belichick. Are you going to ask me that every day?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And see, here's the thing. We don't really know. That's for me to know and you to find out.
Buy a Subway sandwich. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy some Subway on Monday night. I'm not starting any Patriot Bloom.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not starting anyone.
Really? Did you see in Ireland where they had
Here's what I'll do. What I'll do. You know what I'll do?
What?
Is I'll pick up my man Dalton Keene so I can win a championship.
Sure. Liam's teammate.
High school teammate, yeah.
That's right. So did you see, like in Ireland earlier this year, there was a court rule that Subway sandwiches are not on bread. Like they can call it whatever they want, but not bread, because it's not actually bread. I think they cited the sugar content.
When are they going to do that with Taco Bell? Huh?
Right, exactly. Ireland's there for us. Ireland is going to make sure we know what's up. Ireland is going to say, don't play anybody from this game. Maybe Jacoby Myers. I mean, yeah, he's had second 100-yard game of the season last week. Maybe he could get a lot of target. Sony Michel. I don't know if Jonathan Harris is going to play. It's that bad for the Patriots. And like you said, this game meant something. Now it's just a coronation for the Bills. And again, you have your favorite team, and we're all rooting for our favorite team to win the Super Bowl. Unless you're a Steelers fan, you've already accepted that they're not going to win another game this year and next year, at least the end of the playoffs. You got to root for this Bills team, though. This is just fantastic to see what they've done, what Sean McDermott has done. And perhaps it is a good sign for the rest of the league. Well, look, alignment, because remember, McDermott did not have his GM at first. He hired Brandon Beane, or they hired Brandon Beane, I think year 2. So you have alignment. That's why Cleveland fans should be happy. And you let the plan take its time to work. And what a beautiful plan it has been, and what fruit it has borne. And hopefully Buffalo can go ahead and make the fans proud here of their division champion.
Let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Or as John says, they rule Subway bread as cake. You never know where this show is going to go. That's right, everyone. You get to the end of part 2 of the preview show, and you know it's time for our ever popular What the Heck Flex. You look over your lineups, you just need some of that punch, that good, sweet punch. So in week 16, championship, and again, I'll remind you of my conservative nature. I go to what have you done for me lately? So What the Heck Flex is not really where I'm looking. So you're going to look at guys more as, okay, Tony Pollard, Chase Edmonds, Nyheim Hines. Those are all What the Heck Flex-ish. There's Devin Singletary we just talked about. Gio Bernard to me is almost in that, flex category. I'm not going to get too crazy with this. Not in championship week. At the wide receiver position, again, not getting too crazy. Devontae Parker, if he plays, What the Heck Flex, just because I love his ability. Antonio Brown, What the Heck Flex. Again, just kind of looking over these things going, Marquis Brown, right? I know, no, top 14, whatever. Still a What the Heck Flex. I'm very, very nervous, Bloom. So to appease and ease those nerves, who are some of your week 16 What the Heck Flexes?
Running back, you're going to recognize these names from the preview. Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette, Darrell Henderson, Giovanni Bernard, Benny Snell if James Conner's out, and maybe Ito Smith in a PPR league. Wide receiver is a little more interesting. Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman, Rashard Higgins, Russell Gage, Antonio Brown, and Kiki Cutie, and Chad Hansen. And hopefully when we talk Sunday night, I'll be able to bust out those socks.
Bust out those socks. And you mentioned Sunday night because that's the next time we're going to see you. Yeah. Is Sunday night.
Well, we've got the IDP show Wednesday tonight.
Wednesday night.
You with your Week 16 finals, Matt Schauf and John Norton. John Norton in the finals of the IDP Dynasty Football Guys League against Matt Batanti. I know he was in here earlier. Matt Batanti. That's awesome.
That guy's the man. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Matt Batanti. We all need more Matt Batanti in our lives.
Draft Daddy.
By the way, John Norton looking like he's doing his show from a sporting goods store.
Yeah.
But
and he knows how to use those rifles.
Respect.
Ask John Norton to tell you. If you see John Norton, ask him to tell you a story about that deer he shot that one time.
Yeah, that's John Norton, ladies and gentlemen, the guru. We'll see if him or Batante can take. Of course, they're in the championship.
Yeah. Chase Stewart's in the championship. He was surprised. I was like, congratulations, Chase, for taking me down to the semifinals. And Chase said, which league are we in together again? You beat the undefeated team and you didn't set your lineup, and Chase doesn't even know he's in the finals.
That's all good. It is all good in the hood. And again, kind of our reminder, Bloom.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. All those sorts of good things. Go forth. Be awesome. Win your league. Go spread that love. Again, we got a lot of people hurting, and I'm sorry, $600 isn't going to cut it for the people out there that are in desperate need of financial help. So go out there in your community, go to your small restaurants, your family businesses that are still open, help out in any way that you can, and kind of carry on that Christmas spirit, that holiday spirit, whatever you want to call it. Just do that. Go forth, be awesome, be a great person, stay safe, stay healthy. And Bloom, best holiday wishes.
Yeah.
I hope you get everything that you've always wanted.
Yeah. The light. Be the light in someone else's life, and hope we have a lot of light in our lives. Drive around, look at the lights, and enjoy it, folks. And enjoy football. And even though the fantasy football season's winding up, as we like to tell you, we'll be talking draft. We'll be doing playoff previews. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff because it helps us as much as it helps you.
Yes, that is for sure. Peace and love. That's what IDPZ says. Peace and love, guys and ladies, to everyone out there. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for listening to the Audible, and our Apple Music and our Spotify audience is so damn huge. Thank you guys for that. It's very humbling to have that audience on those platforms. Thanks for helping us grow our YouTube channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. By the way, Sasha changed that up, Bloom, so I think I'm saying it wrong. So I gotta watch more Casually Comics. And of course, have a great holiday with friends and family. He's Sigmund Bloom. I'm Cecil Lammey. We are the Audible. Everyone, stay tuned and have the frostiest of holidays.